listeners and viewers, to another week of Deducation, your favorite podcast in all of the podcast universe. I'm one of your hosts, Mike.
And I'm the other one, Courtney.
And we are back to talk about my pick this week, which also doubles as a scratch off the poster. We're talking about Tobe Hooper's original Texas Chain Saw Massacre.
Yes.
Which is kind of confusing because the poster says the Texas Chain Saw Massacre. But the title is the Texas Chain Saw Massacre, but they separate chain and saw. And so I fixed that on the server so it'd be easier for you to find. Because you type in Texas Chainsaw, the sequel pops up.
Okay.
Because it was treating it as two separate words. So I changed it to one word so it'd be easier to find for me. And I've got a thing, like if I'm looking at a catalog of things, if the sequels aren't in the same group as the prequels, it drives me nuts. Like, for instance, all the Halloween movies are Halloween. Halloween 2, Halloween 3, Halloween 4. Friday the 13th, you get to Friday the 13th, then 2, 3, 4, 5. But then they start throwing things like Jason Lives, Friday the 13th, Part 6. Well, that's going to be under J.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
no,
that's not how this works. It's just
they should just be all together. The only thing making them come next should be the numbers.
Yeah, and so I'm a little OCD about that. It just drives me nuts. So when I add movies to the catalog, if they don't shuffle in there, I'll go in and actually like change the title, like the official title to like, no, you're Friday the 13th Part 6. You know, because Part 9 is like Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday. Like Friday the 13th is not even the title. Nope, it is now. Like I need him to be in sequential order. So no, we're not here though to talk about all of my OCD categorical things. We're here to talk about the original Texas Chain Saw Massacre. It's deemed as like Tobe Hooper's masterpiece right out of the gate. Dude nails it. Tiny budget, huge results. And one of the most brutal and influential horror films out there, gets a lot of credit. A lot of credit. And we're going to get into it. This movie kicks off with a little disclaimer by a Mr. John Larroquette, a person you have no idea who it is. But he plays a lawyer in the original Night Court television show. And so just a little fun fact, it's like John Larroquette's doing the voiceover for this movie. But we start with... This unique kind of like opening titles, but then we hear like old timey camera flashes and what we see is like close up pictures of mutilated body parts.
Yeah.
Hands, teeth, gums, the whole 9 yards. And really what's happened is like a grave robber had like desecrated all of these, burials in the cemetery. And creates this kind of dead, decaying, statuesque figure. And it's nothing to do with the movie at all.
No.
Other than just being right in your face, right out of the gate. Like, title sequence, first thing you see is this very realistic looking rotting corpse in a cemetery, positioned almost like a totem of sorts. And that's what we're dealing with in this movie. Right out of the gate, it's not safe. It's definitely not safe. Cut to a van, and we meet our 5 victims. I mean, it's a horror film. Let's not cut to the chase. We meet our 5 victims of this tale. Sally's the only one who really matters. The others all have names, but they don't matter. The only reason I mentioned Sally is because Sally's your final girl. And these 5 are very hippie-ish. These 5 are driving their like VW van. They're in Texas, of course, hence the title. But they're headed to this old, like Sally and Franklin's grandpa used to live down in that area. And so they're headed to basically go check out like their ancestral home kind of thing.
Yeah.
They stop at the cemetery that we'd mentioned before to check on the grave. Grandpa's grave is fine. We just get a little bit of backstory. Oh, look, there's the slaughterhouse Grandpa used to work with. Franklin's going into detail about how they would slaughter these cows with just this metal bolt that just right into the brain, right through the skull. Franklin he's handicapped in a wheelchair, and you could tell the only reason he gets to be with them is because of Sally.
Yeah.
Because nobody likes Franklin. And I don't blame him. Franklin's obnoxious.
He is. He is.
And so everything's all easy peasy right out of the gate. Everybody's just having a good old time. Grandpa's grave's fine. Let's head there. You know what? Let's pick up a hitchhiker.
Yeah, because why not?
It's the 70s. You could pick up hitchhikers in the 70s. How else were you going to get across the country?
Yeah, except this hitchhiker is weird.
This hitchhiker was weird before he even got in the van. Like, to look at this guy, like, I'm not saying don't ever pick up a hitchhiker. I mean,
hey, sometimes it's okay. I have been a hitchhiker. I think we've talked about this on
here. You have. I'm not, well, yeah, but just because you were okay didn't mean it was okay to pick you up. Now, if you're driving and you recognize the person and you know them and have a comfort level, whatever, you're giving them a ride. But this dude was just messed up.
Yeah, he looked like,
I mean, in today's society, he definitely would have been a meth tweaker. Like, no doubt about it. So they pick up this hitchhiker who, at first, he seems, he's odd, but he's not dangerous.
Yeah, like he's just an odd guy, which
just
is
a
fine.
Local. And he's like, my family does, animal slaughter. Like, but that's what you do. They were just talking about
I'll show you some pictures.
Yeah. He even offers to take a picture of them. So he does. He takes a picture of them. And then he wants them to buy it from him.
Yeah, $2.
Yeah. Which they're like, no, which I don't blame him. Like, I didn't give you, like, if you're going to take a picture.
I didn't ask you to take
I didn't ask you.
You wanted to.
And so that's really when this guy goes kind of berserk.
Yeah.
Because they refuse to give him $2. He leans out, he pulls out a straight razor and cuts Franklin in the arm. Cuts himself. Like, there's a lot of blood, but not like gory. But it's just really gross. At one point, he takes their picture and like starts it on fire and like wraps it in tinfoil, drips blood or whatever. They kick him out. Obviously, they kick him out of the van. He's smearing his blood all over the side of this van.
Like chasing after it.
Yeah, which I know that they did it for movie filming purposes, but how slowly does your van leave from a dead stop?
Well, and my thing is, like, it left extremely slowly later on when you saw the little symbol that he drew. Like,
yeah. It's like you kicked him out, and then, of course, the camera's on the inside of the van looking out at him. And the only thing I'll give it is if they had to wait to merge onto traffic.
Yeah.
But even
they didn't.
But even that speed away on the shoulder, just get out of this, get out of his area. And so he's basically marked the van. For reasons outside of we don't really know. They take off and they're fine. So they pull up to a gas station. Actually, one of the funnier scenes in the movie. There's not much humor in this movie, but I liked it. They pull to the gas station, and they're talking to the old man. And there's a younger guy that brings out like a mop bucket almost, and he starts washing their windshield. And he's washing their windshield while the old man is talking to him. And then when the old man turns to walk away, he just stops washing the windshield in the middle of it and walks away. But then they ask the old man a question, so he turns around and comes back to the van. So then the windshield guy also turns around, comes back, and starts cleaning the windshield again. I don't know why it cracks me up, but it does. But they stop to get fuel. Of course, there's no fuel.
Go figure.
Yeah, there's no fuel. And this guy, he sells barbecue right out of his gas station. Homemade barbecue. No fuel. So that, because they're not out of gas. They're just low on gas.
Yeah.
So he's told him, gas truck will be here this afternoon. Like, you just want to hang out,
Mm-hmm.
you know, so that's what they decide to do. And they go exploring. And they find the old house, right?
Yes.
They find the Hardesty home. And because they're just exploring, I can't imagine it was easy pushing Franklin in that wheelchair through
Right.
all of this
Because
terrain.
he's heavier set.
He's a big
as
boy.
well.
Yeah. So yeah, they find the abandoned house. Then they all go upstairs looking around. Of course, Franklin's left downstairs. He's blowing raspberries because he's so angry. Like it's they're just killing time, really.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of them leave to go swimming. You know, they go down to they find a watering hole. They're just gonna go kill some time, and they find a house, another house, and this house is they come across some generators. And because they have generators, they know they have gas.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, hey, I got an idea. Let's go. You know, if there must be home because generators are running, let's go see if we can get some gas from them. And Kirk goes in the house, and everything's fine. Like,
yeah, we get a little Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah,
type.
Kirk meets the owner. No, yeah. No, it's not fine. Not remotely.
Because this guy is wearing a female-made mask.
Well, like you said, at first Kirk kind of tours the house.
Yeah.
And he's finding bones, but not just bones. He's finding like art made of these bones.
Yeah.
Like it's very disturbing. All of the bones and stretched skin. Like it should have been your absolutely first clue to leave.
Yes, please turn around and exit the building.
Quickly and quietly get out of here.
Mm-hmm. But nope. Not Kirk.
Nope. He comes across an open door that doesn't really know where it goes and checks out the store. He's still looking for the owner. And out steps Leatherface and has a sledgehammer, bashes him in the head, kills him instantly, just drops him, and picks him up and takes him back into that room and slams shut the metal door. Like it's just awesome. Like
yeah,
as a reveal, there's no scary music. There's no beat that is like letting you know danger is imminent. It's just hello, and then you see this hulking man, and that's it. That's it for Kirk. Pam also waiting for Kirk to come back. I guess I got him mixed up. Pam goes in the house. She's the one that sees all the bones and, human and animal. And again, she does have the right idea to leave.
Yeah.
But Leatherface knows she's there. And one of the most brutal scenes from this movie.
Yeah.
He slams that door open. She takes off running. He chases her down on the front porch. Broad daylight. And also, you don't see this very often in horror films. Just broad daylight horror.
No.
She's trying to jump off the front porch. He basically grabs her out of midair. She's flailing her arms and legs, and he just pulls her back inside, drags her into that room. She's still like screaming and fighting, and you know it's coming before he does it.
Yeah.
The way the camera's set up, they've got the doorway in the background as Leatherface is bringing Pam into the room, and you've got a meat hook hanging in the foreground, and we've seen something similar to this in Silent Night, Deadly Night, when the Santa figure like took Leanna Quigley and put her up on the antlers, but that wasn't as brutal as this is. Yeah,
because, and if you don't know what a meat hook looks like, it is like a gigantic fishing hook.
Yeah, it's J-shaped.
That's what it is, like, and it's made to hold thousands of pounds of meat.
Yeah, and he just picks her up, still fighting and screaming, and just it just hangs her on it like a Christmas ornament. And of course, she immediately reacts like one would, just and then he just goes back to work. Like, because he's working on Kurt. Like, he's working. He's not, and this is where a lot of this movie really blurs the line, because yes, Leatherface, and as we eventually find out, his family are absolutely terrible, horrific people. But this came to their doorstep.
Right. And like the way that they function, like this is just life for them.
Yeah. This is their,
yeah.
You invaded their home.
Yeah.
I mean, and they did, like the 5 young people.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's nobody knocked. It's not like they even knocked and was like, hey, can we get some gas? Like, they found them in their house. Who would not freak out if you were just...
You just came on a bad day.
Yeah, like, you did. You came on the day they needed to eat.
Yeah, so. Kirk and Pam definitely are in the wrong. Now, what happened to them is not good, but they definitely, they trespass. They're in there. Mm-hmm. And so, it just hangs her on that meat hook.
And while it was brutal, I will not say it was the most disgusting scene of the movie.
No. So hangs her on that meat hook, and then he goes and grabs a chainsaw. Mm-hmm. And because Pam's not dead. She's just
wounded.
She's just very violently wounded. Because again, it's not like a horror, like your like straight up slasher film where this hook went all the way through her.
Yeah.
Which makes it even more horrible, in my opinion. Because it's not like she was like impaled and gutted, and you see, like, no, he just hung. So you know that the inside of this meat hook is inside of her. She's literally hanging from it. It's probably tearing as her weight is coming down. And then who knows who else has been hung on this thing? What else has been hung on this thing? They don't clean it. And then Leatherface, which he's never known as Leatherface in this movie. But Leatherface grabs the chainsaw, fires it up, and starts cutting Kirk up right there in front of Pam. Like, she's like, what just happened to her was horrific, but what's happening now in front of her and her, it's like, oh my, like, I know I'm in trouble.
Nothing about it, and it's like if you move, I mean, it's going to hurt you physically even more. So it's like, oh man,
enjoy the show.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's nighttime.
Yeah, and we've got Jerry.
Yeah.
Whom is looking for Pam and Kirk. Yeah. So he just, again, goes on into the house.
Right. He kind of discovered it like they discovered it.
Yeah. Finds her just twitching.
Yeah, because he goes into the slaughter room.
Yeah.
And of course Leatherface isn't in there. And so he's looking around very unsure of himself, but then, like you said, the box freezer, the chest freezer starts kind of shaking. Yeah. And then again, I would have just run. But nope. Jerry's going to check it out.
Because I don't know if anyone else has a deep freeze, but ours doesn't move.
Not on its own. He opens the lid, and Pam, who's not dead, but is clearly been in this chest freezer for a while, like, she sits up and just spasms. Like, again, it's really gross, and that was enough to bring Leatherface back into the room.
Mm-hmm. And he offs Jerry with a hammer.
Yeah, just one. And the thing, like, the kills in this are immediate.
Yes,
like they are done by a person who has done this before. Yeah, these are like one swing of the hammer, you're dead. Mm-hmm. And they're not even like a sledgehammer as much as it's just like a
hammer.
Just like what you like pound tenderloins with.
Yes.
But he knows where to hit because these people just drop. And then kills him and then slams Pam back into the freezer. Like, it's like, quit interrupting my operation. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm trying to work here. So we're now left to Sally and Franklin. Okay. I mean, Leatherface has dispatched these other 3 in like record time. We're left with the Hardesties, Sally and Franklin, which again, Sally, blonde, not overly big, and strong. Franklin, invalid, wheelchair bound, heavy. And they're headed towards the house. because again, it's the only other house in the area.
Yeah.
So they're headed towards that house in the cover of night. They come across some tall grasses. And this is the first time Leatherface has really been on the attack.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he's killed 3 people already, but all 3 people were in his house.
Yes.
To where it's like you don't go in the house.
Right. And I mean, one of these, like, they're trying to find the keys for the van. They're honking, like, let's just go. And then, I don't remember who was, but it doesn't matter. But it's like one of the siblings is like, let's go. And the other's like, no, we have to wait. Like, we have to find them. And it's like, okay, then just lock yourself in the van then or something.
Right.
Like, just, you don't have to go in the house. Again, like, if there's generators, you know someone's there. So don't.
Right. Especially when Franklin's in a wheelchair. Like, you have to push him. And not for much longer, though, because they come across this tall grass, and Leatherface pops out of nowhere and basically ambushes them with the quietest yet fastest starting chainsaw ever.
Mm-hmm.
Quick aside here. Growing up as a junior high, and my hometown had there was a haunted barn outside of town. I can't think of the name of the tale, but there was a haunted barn outside of town. And one night in junior high, we were all staying at a friend's house, and the dad was like, "We'll take you out." Buford's barn, that's what it was. Buford's barn. We're gonna take you guys out to Buford's barn. And I'm not kidding. There's probably 7 of us. Like, we're in 2 vehicles. We head out to Buford's barn. It's like 10 o'clock at night. Like, we're all way too cool, but we're all just scared to death. And we're walking up to Buford's barn, single file. I mean, and it's just this dilapidated old barn. Like, nobody used it for anything, but nobody knocked it down either. And we're walking all up, and we're going to go in one at a time. I don't remember where I was in line, but I knew I was near the end. And we we step up, and the first kid stepped into the barn, and a chainsaw fired up. And everybody takes off running. I remember I turned around so fast I tripped over my feet. And I'm laying there, and when I hop back up, like I turn her over to hop back up, and the guy was standing like almost right over me, firing up this chainsaw. I was easily the biggest guy in the group. Somehow, despite falling down, I still was like second one back to the truck. Everybody else scattered. I get back to the truck. The kid in front of me, he gets back to the truck, and someone jumps out from behind the truck in like a werewolf mask.
Oh my gosh.
This kid just like, it was impressive. I know I'm probably exaggerating, but the way my memory is, it's like
he just, how you remember
like
it.
Flat-footed, just jumped straight up into the back of the truck and just cowered. I remember, I think I jumped in the cab of the truck and locked the doors. It was just like, we were almost all in tears. Of course, it was all set up. The dad had a couple of his buddies out there, but even that, it was almost a giveaway because the guy had to like pull the chain twice, like pull the string twice to get the chainsaw to fire up. But Leatherface here, just one rip. Maybe it was electric start. I don't know.
But I mean, hey, they don't make things now like they used to.
No, not at all. So, Sally's pushing Franklin. Leatherface comes out right in front of Franklin, fires up this chainsaw, and then it's scarier because we don't see it.
Yeah.
But we're seeing from behind Franklin as Leatherface is just carving him up with this chainsaw. We never see Franklin's chest, so we don't actually see the damage done. But even when Franklin dies and he stops like wailing and fighting, like Leatherface is still just going to town.
Yeah.
On this corpse in a wheelchair, giving Sally time to run. Okay.
Yeah.
Which is good. So he's chasing Sally. He made up the ground really quick on her. Chases her into the house. She runs in. She kind of locks things up the best she can. She runs upstairs, and she finds 2 very old people. Both of them seem dead. The woman definitely is. Like, she's rotting.
Yeah.
It's basically grandma and grandpa.
Yeah.
Of this clan. and they're just left for dead. Leatherface cuts down the door to get inside, gets upstairs. Sally jumps out the window, like no hesitation even, which kudos to her. You know, you see horror females now will turn around and they'll try to talk down the slasher, you know, or they'll try to hesitate against scared. No, she just, I'm out of here. Just jumps through this window. Leatherface comes back downstairs, chases her all the way to the gas station.
Yeah, and thankfully she meets a nice guy there.
Yeah.
And he's like, come on in. Like, he protects her.
Yeah.
For a little bit.
Gets all the way to the gas station. Leatherface stops chasing, like, it's all well and good. You know, she's sitting there, you gotta call the police, and, you know, she's noticing, like, he's barbecuing some food. Like, it seems, at least for a moment, things are okay.
Yes.
And then he gets out a burlap bag and a rope.
Yeah, and like, don't worry. Yeah. Okay.
Like beats her with a broom.
Yeah.
Just to
because she gets like a knife looking something.
Yeah, she grabs like whatever, like this large meat slicer, meat knife or whatever. But yeah, knocks that out of her hand. You know, gets her tied up and, you know, kind of bound, and puts her in the truck. And it's this. He might be my favorite character because even when he's about to pull away, he realizes he left the light on. Like he's got his priorities. Like,
yes, you know, energy's expensive.
Yeah, at these prices.
Hey, but I feel you. At these prices, we don't leave our lights on either.
Yeah, he's not trying to be funny. It's just his personality. Right. So back to the house. We now, of course, we've got Leatherface. We've got the dad, which is the guy running the gas station. We've got the grandpa, who was the seemingly dead person upstairs, and the hitchhiker.
Yes, because this hitchhiker is part of this clan, and he gets in trouble.
He does,
because it's
so does Leatherface.
Yes, like, you do not act like that in public.
Yeah, Leatherface did too, because it's like, that was a good door. You know, like, you just chopped down a good door. Again, these people, this is just their lifestyle.
Yeah,
it's obviously wrong, but it's their lifestyle.
But it's not wrong to them.
No. Leatherface has changed his clothes. And by clothes, I mean human skin.
Right.
Like other humans that have been murdered, he steals the skin from them and makes suits. And so, like I said, the hitchhiker gets in trouble for what he did at the cemetery. You know, kind of draws all these characters together.
Right, yeah.
And Sally
this is where it gets weird.
Yeah, they're just sitting around the dinner table. And Sally is just, like, she's in pure shock. And pure terror. You know, they're talking up Grandpa. Like, Grandpa's the best one. You know, like, nobody could kill a man like Grandpa.
But like, when Grandpa was introduced, this part seriously made me go,
go for it.
Because it just, it was so disgusting. Like, when they introduced Grandpa to Sally, they had cut her fingers.
Yeah.
And then they're like, here, Grandpa, try her blood, suck on her blood. And it's just like, I felt so bad for her because she is bound to this chair with her hand sliced, and nasty looking Grandpa is just sucking the blood off of her fingers. And I'm like, oh, that's disgusting.
And Sally faints. Like, it is so bad. Like, she's had enough shock.
And like, Grandpa is so disgusting looking that he almost looks like mummified.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's really, really gross.
Like, it's bad.
Wakes up the next morning and Sally's regained her consciousness. You know, the men are still like bickering over it, but basically Grandpa's got to kill her.
Yeah. Grandpa, and I really like the camera action here because it's like zooming in on just everything. Like, her eyes are going like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. It's a lot of tight close-ups. Yeah. She's still bound, but fighting it. Grandpa can't hold on to the hammer well enough to actually get any momentum. Like, his grip is really weak. So he keeps dropping the hammer while trying to hit her in the head. Even hits her in the head at one point by dropping the hammer, but not enough to do anything. She breaks free, busts through another window, now we've got the hitchhiker and Leatherface after her. Thankfully, she hits the road at the time a semi's coming by, and hitchhiker jumps out in front of, like, he's chasing her, just gets not just run over by the semi, but like 9 of the 18 wheels of this semi, like they show his body being ridden over multiple times.
He's gone.
Yeah. And so she climbs into the truck, and like Leatherface comes in after, like, so now the truck driver and Sally are trying to run away from Leatherface. The truck driver grabs a wrench and throws it at him, hits him in the head, Leatherface. When he falls, he drops the chainsaw on his leg, cuts his leg up, which buys him enough time because there's another truck coming. Semi driver just runs off down the road. Like, he's out of here. Like, what all 5 of these kids should have done from the beginning. But Sally hops in the back of this truck as Leatherface is chasing the truck. And she's just, again, in hysterics and shock. The truck gets away. Leatherface is left. He's doing this like victory dance with his chainsaw in the middle of the road. And that's it. Like, the sun comes up, and that's the end of the movie. No character arcs whatsoever. It's just a night of pure terror for these people. And that's Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Yes. Loosely based on the story of Ed Gein, a Wisconsin grave robber. Murdered a couple people, but very loosely based on a character that I've read kind of a biography on the guy, like a tale of his story. But real life guy that was robbing graves and making suits out of women's skin and bowls out of their skulls. And at one point, the Wisconsin State Police were looking for one of the missing victims, and he happened to be on the search. He was helping search for her as that. And so he was on the search crew, and they had asked, where is she? And he admitted, he goes, she's in my barn. She's strung up. Like he was taking these women and stringing them up by their ankles and gutting them. And they're like, oh, Ed, like they didn't believe him. You're right. And lo and behold, there it was. There he was. And so loosely based on that, but the old Ed Gein story. So that's it. That's the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Very curious. Courtney, let's give this a grade. I want to know what you thought.
Yes, I really like this movie. I'm going to give it an A just because, even, I don't know, I think it probably did inspire a lot of other things. Like, I don't know if it had anything to do, with In Silence of the Lambs, how he's wearing...
It's Silence of the Lambs is another one that's based loosely on the Ed Gein story.
Yeah,
there's also I think it's the late 70s or early 80s movie called Deranged that is a little bit closer to the Ed Gein story. If you get a chance, because I know you like true crime stuff.
Yeah,
the Ed Gein story is just bizarre, bizarre. So yeah, you'll see some minor similarities between Silence of the Lambs and Texas Chainsaw Massacre because both of them were inspired by this real life dude. Yeah, so look that up. Even just read the Wikipedia stuff.
Yeah,
it's a circus for sure. So,
but yeah, I'm giving it an A just because, even for this being, an older movie, it's still, I don't know. I really liked all the lighting. I liked just the grossness of it.
Yeah, it felt very almost like documentary.
Yeah, it did. It did. So yeah, this one's getting a solid A for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna go A+ just because of the where it sits in the horror annals. Leatherface is one of those monsters. He may not be a Freddy, Jason, Michael Myers level, but he's still up there. There's been multiple sequels, remakes, comic books. This is one that was out early. And again, this movie came out in 1974. It predates Freddy, Jason, and Michael Myers. So Texas Chainsaw Massacre was a huge hit and continues to have a very relevant feel. Netflix just came out with one, I think, last year. So we're looking at nearly 50 years later, they're still making these movies.
Yeah. And I mean, if you think about it, like, if you're watching and you've ever been to a haunted house or haunted trail, I mean, this was my first time seeing this movie, but it is so popular that I've heard about it. Yeah. And it's one of those, like, you're walking and you hear a chainsaw start up and everyone's immediately like, ah!
Exactly. Yeah. It is.
Yeah, I mean, it's got that effect on you, even if you haven't seen it.
Yeah. It's one of the first horror films that use like power tools, as murder weapons. Like, it's just, it really set the tone for a lot of what's going on. And it's just brutal. Like,
yeah,
it's just a brutal film. Even though they really don't show a ton of blood on screen.
Yeah.
Just the violence in it is brutal. What do you got next week? Not really any lessons here. Don't trespass. The end.
No, don't buy barbecue from a gas station.
Yeah, that too.
I'm going to go with a cross. It's kind of going to double dip. So
that's fine.
Christine had suggested this one.
Okay.
And it's also on my list. Rosemary's Baby.
Ooh, I love that movie.
I, of course, have not seen it.
I do.
But
definite change from what we're watching, what we have. I really like Rosemary's Baby. Roman Polanski directed. This is good. I like that one a lot. Who'd you say recommended it?
Christine from YouTube.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
It was one of hers. So I was like, you know what? And when I was looking through the list of everything she had suggested, I was like, well, that's on my list and I've got to pick one. So I will double dip there.
Yeah, Rosemary's Baby is a good one. It really, it's definitely not as brutal. Almost twice as long. That's another thing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a long one.
But no, it's a good watch. Rosemary's Baby is a great film. So, all right. Well, we will be back next week to watch Rosemary's Baby. Social media, you guys can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We do have a Letterboxd list going on, so you can give us a follow on Letterboxd. Well, once one of us gets some time, we'll, and by one of us, I mean me, I'll hop in and actually provide some links and our grades on the films so that I need to do it soon before it really piles up to where I can't even keep up.
Yeah.
But yeah, we will be back for sure next week with Rosemary's Baby. And for another episode of Education, I'm Mike.
And I'm Courtney.
We'll see you guys then.
Bye.